Good morning. Here we go again. The first named storm of the season, Tropical Storm Alberto, bears down on Florida, but could it be a blessing in disguise? The endgame. President Bush convenes a war council for a two-day Camp David summit on the future of Iraq. Is a troop withdrawal in that future? And surviving Everest, climber Lincoln Hall was left for dead near the unforgiving summit of the world's highest peak. But somehow he made it, and he's here for an exclusive interview along with the man who saved him today, Monday, June 12th, 2006.
From NBC News, this is Today with Matt Lauer and Campbell Brown, live from Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today on a Monday morning. I'm Matt Lauer, and very happy to welcome Weekend Today's Campbell Brown to the set here. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm going to be here for the next couple of weeks, and we're going to have a lot to watch weather-wise over the next couple of weeks and over the whole summer, in fact. The winds from Tropical Storm Alberto strengthened to 50 miles per hour in the Gulf of Mexico this morning. While it's not expected to turn into a hurricane, it will dump very heavy rain along Florida's west coast, and believe it or not, it may be a good thing. We're going to get a live report from Kerry Sanders in Florida and our own Al Roker coming up in just a minute.
All right, then we're going to have that exclusive interview. The climber who survived Mount Everest, he had made it to the summit. On his way down, he suffered from extreme altitude sickness and was left for dead. But he has survived. He's with us this morning. And we'll also talk to the man whose group found him on their way to the summit. A selfless act of courage. And we're going to be talking to both men coming up.
And also ahead, Matt, the hunt for baby seals, believe it or not, it is still going on today. We'll tell you why this controversy may end up impacting what you eat at the dinner table. Plus, is your neighborhood cul-de-sac on the endangered species list? Some towns want them gone. We'll find out why. And they've spent their lives packing the kids off to school. Now more and more stay-at-home moms are headed back to the classrooms themselves. And we're going to tell you if that's right for you coming up.
All right, but first we want to fill you in on Tropical Storm Alberto, which is headed toward the Sunshine State. NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Punta Gorda, Florida, on the West Coast this morning. Kerry, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Matt. In the storm-weary hurricane zone, residents who've been battered for the last 2 years are hoping they won't see a repeat of what they've been through. Then along comes Alberto, has folks saying, here we go again.
For Florida residents,
Experts have predicted that we'll see 17 named storms this year. Of course, they'll all go alphabetically. That's why this first one is Alberto. Matt?
All right, Kerry, thanks very much. Kerry Sanders in Punta Gorda, Florida for us this morning. They're battening down the hatches.
That's right, and our own weather expert, Alberto Roker, is here to tell us how bad his namesake storm will be, and not terribly bad.
No, not terribly bad. That's the good news. Actually, a year ago, June 9th, it became Tropical Storm Arlene. We've got Alberto out there, 275 miles southwest of Apalachicola, Florida, 50-mile-per-hour winds, moving north-northeast at 8. Now, the track of the storm will bring it onshore sometime early tomorrow morning, off the Carolina coastline by 2 a.m. Wednesday. The good news, as Kerry mentioned, look at this, last 3 months, so much of Florida has been below normal as far as their rainfall. But with Alberto, some areas going to pick up 10 inches of rain. And the good news, the highest winds are going to be really not over Florida. So by the time it makes landfall, maybe 50, 60 mile per hour. But the good news is they get plenty of rain. So that's the best part that people in Florida can hope for. A lot of rain, not a lot of wind.
The silver lining.
That's right.
To those clouds, Al. Thank you very much.
And you're going to have the rest of the forecast for the rest of the nation coming up a little bit later as well.
All right, look forward to that. First, let's swing over to the news desk now, get the other top stories of the morning. And for that, we say good morning for the first time to Ann.
And good morning to you, Matt and Campbell and Al. Good morning, everybody. In the news this morning, today, President Bush is gathering his top advisors at Camp David for 2 days of meetings on the future of Iraq. The session follows last week's airstrike that killed Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq. Today, the violence in Iraq continues. Bombings killed at least 7 people in Baghdad and Kirkuk. Meantime, the U.S. military says troops killed 7 insurgents with ties to senior al-Qaeda leaders. There are new calls for closing down the U.S. prison at Guantanamo Bay, including one from the European Union, following the suicide of 3 detainees over the weekend. NBC's Jim Miklaszewski is in Washington for us this morning. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Ann. There are some 450 detainees from the war in Afghanistan at Guantanamo Bay. And the larger issue here is just how long can the U.S. hold them without putting them on trial. The 3 detainees, 2 Saudis
35 people were injured when a commuter train derailed this morning in Israel. The train was going from Tel Aviv to Haifa when it hit a vehicle on the tracks. An eyewitness said it was going full speed at the time. 2 Kansas teenagers have died and 2 others are missing after they were swept away by rough water while swimming in Costa Rica over the weekend. They were part of a group on a school trip from Kansas. A 36-year-old jockey is hospitalized this morning after a frightening accident on Sunday. Chance Rollins was thrown from a horse during a race in California and was critically injured when he landed on his head. Tonight, the Oilers and the Hurricanes meet for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals, with Carolina leading 2-1. Tonight's game at 8 Eastern Time here on NBC. And the Dallas Mavericks now lead Miami 2-0 after they beat the Heat last night, 99-85, and held Shaquille O'Neal to just 5 points. Game 3 tomorrow night. It is now 7:08. Let's turn now back to Matt, Campbell, and Al.
All right, Ann. Thank you very much for that.
And Al's already given us a forecast for Tropical Storm Alberto, but what's going on the rest of the country?
Hot, hot, hot through the southern tier of states. Unbelievably warm, anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees. Toasty. Atlanta today, 91, 95 in Little Rock. Amarillo, Texas, 93. Got the Barbie going in the southwest. Denver today, 90 degrees. Phoenix, 100. It's going to be cooler than usual throughout the Northeast and the Great Lakes, Pacific Northwest as well, but hundreds on into Texas. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. That's your latest weather. Campbell?
Al, thanks. Now to Iraq. Is there a brighter future there now that terror leader Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is dead and the Iraqi government is taking shape? President Bush is meeting with his inner circle today to talk about what's next, and we've got 2 reports this morning. NBC's Richard Engel in Baghdad and Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Richard, let's start with you. Good morning.
Good morning, Campbell. This is a decisive period here in Iraq. We have U.S. and Iraqi forces trying to build momentum after Zarqawi's death. Then we have his organization.